shelf today. Just going to throw a few slugs around. A few birds working just a little bit out of casting range. Don't know if you can actually make them out. There's a boat sort of sniffing around. And we'll just bomb a few lures out here and we'll see how we go. I'll show you what I'm going to use. That's the one there. They usually work pretty well up until the time there's no blue left on them. Just got a couple of single hooks on a split ring there, and a little bit of crystal flash with UV and a little bit of glow in the dark flash off the back. I usually put a little bit of buck hair in those feathers off the back as well. It does seem to give better results. This one doesn't actually have any, but we'll see how we go. We'll put a couple of casts in and see what happens. Just throw a little light cast to start with, just to make sure nothing's tangled. Line's not too tight on my reel. And just keep your action nice and light. Soft hands on your rod. Just allows that movement of the rod tip. Oh, and we're on. We got one. It's not a bad salmon. We'll get him in here and I'll give you a look. Hopefully we get this one in. First fish in the morning. It's probably the 4th, 5th cast. Just changed direction, went out over the sand. A bit more of a cast with the wind. He hasn't actually jumped yet. Usually these salmon will jump out of the water by now. I am fishing quite a tight drag. Oh, there he is. What is he? Oh no, he's a little salmon. Just try and keep him down. Not buried into the, not actually buried into the weeds, but there we go. First fish of the morning, 5th cast. I'll give you a look at him. Good fun to catch, the old salmon. Probably not the world's best eating fish, but oh, there's that little lure. Just in the corner of his mouth. Let's try and step down here if I can without getting too wet. Oh. There you go, guys. Beautiful, oh, beautiful little salmon. Little Australian salmon. Same thing, where I'm not a massive fan of eating these fish. They are pretty good. Make some Thai fish cakes or something with them. They're quite tasty. Oh, we'll calm down. We'll let this guy go and we'll get back out there. There he is there. Definitely get a better hookup rate with the 2 singles, I reckon, than a treble. There he is. Oh, there he goes. Catch you next time. There he goes, out into the deep. Quite often the kingfish will be hanging around with these salmon. About 12 kilos is my biggest kingfish off the rocks. Not here, but not far from here with the same lure. Lot lighter rod, 8 kilo rod, 20-pound leader, 20-pound braid, and I landed that fish. Took me about 40 minutes, but I eventually got him in. And then when I went to pick him up, I slipped over and snapped my rod then. So I'll show you a photo of that one. Just so you know I'm not completely full of it. Always try and keep my line coming out at 45 degrees from the rod tip. It just allows you to get a really good strike on the fish when you feel that bite. If you've got your rod straight at your line, by the time you start to load your rod up and pull it round, the fish has had plenty of time to let go of the actual lure. But if you keep it at a 45 degree angle, as soon as you start to apply pressure on that rod, the hook should set really well. All right guys, just down here today. Gonna have a bit of a flick off the rocks for a few salmon and tailor. We got Brendan here from Nature Coast Plumbing, about to go for a surf. I've had my surf for the day. I'm letting the afternoon crowd get their fill. We're gonna try and catch some of these fish that are swimming around if I don't get cleaned up by any of these sets that are coming in. Might just wait for this set. Get back here on the dry rocks. I know I'm going to be pretty safe here. Haven't got any gear with me today. All I've got is the one camera, the rod, and one lure. I know there's plenty of fish out here. There's a sea eagle just coming in, swooping, getting a fish off the surface. Good swell rolling in today. It's dropping off. It was probably 8 foot here this morning. It's back down to about 4 or 5 foot now. We'll get a few casts in and hopefully we can get a fish or two. Not the safest conditions. I wouldn't recommend being out here if you couldn't swim well. Like I said, I've been here surfing all morning, so I can understand the conditions pretty well. Ow, just kicked my toe. All right, first cast in the water. Another set coming. I'll get one more cast in before it turns up. Just out there in that foam line, that's where the fish was sitting when I was having me surf. Hopefully we can get one on here. I'm just going to move away from the edge a little bit. Don't really fancy getting too wet. I have a couple more casts here and then we'll head out the back a bit further. This is the last place I've seen the bait fish running. It was on the back of these waves here. There was birds and bait fish everywhere here this morning, so it's quietened off a fair bit from when I started my surf. Tide's pushed in a bit. Let's get back over here. Another big set coming in. Just get back to the dry rocks. You know you're pretty safe there. Shouldn't get too wet here. Bit of swell around today. Just wait for this set here to roll in, and old mate here is in a pretty precarious position. Incoming tide. See how this plays out for him. He's got his esky and stuff sitting there. Alright, we'll get back to our spot. Alright guys, so we've just come to the end of the rocks. Just have a go out here just in case. Not holding out too much hope, but you never know. See how we go. Let's get a couple of casts in. Oh, and we're on. Gonna be an alright salmon, this one, I would say. Just there, straight underneath that wash. We got our first fish. Oh, he's jumping. Oh, he's jumping again. try and get him across this reef. I don't know where I'm going to actually land this fish. I'll just bring him. Oh well, the one that got away. Alright, I'm going to back away from this edge here. There's a bit of a set coming in. I don't really want to get too wet, so we'll just move back over here. Pick your dry rock to sand on. Like I said, you're usually pretty safe on dry rocks. They won't get too wet too quick. The tide is still coming in. Probably only about half an hour, 40 minutes away from high tide at the moment. But the swell is dropping off. You wouldn't have been able to stand here 2 hours ago. You would have got pushed off the rocks. All right, guys, we're just going to have one last cast. Lucky last cast. Go get the grommet and take her to the beach for a swim. I think it's only fair that she gets a knock off from school early today. Such a nice day. Yeah, beach time's more important than daycare, I reckon. Last cast. Haven't got another fish. We only got that one fish that I dropped just trying to get him up. Probably should have come out here and had a quick go before I went for a surf. Water's beautiful today, 23, 24 degrees. It's too hard to not go for a surf, pretty much. Nice little swell running, good little waves. Well, that's it. Back to the car.